How you doing, guys? Zane's Every Boxing Dosage here, back with another video. And in this video I like to give you my prediction for this upcoming fight. It's fight week, it's going down. It's a return of world champion, super middleweight, WBO middleweight champion Hamzah Sheeraz. He's going in there, his first title defense since winning the WBO world champion over Alan Bejic in 3 rounds. Quick work of him, and he's going in there with another, guy that is somewhat a prospect in Germany, but he's not really known on the world stages. And he's going in there with Simon Verhoeven. Verhoeven. I can't even pronounce his surname, but he's a German fighter out of Germany. I believe 18-1 with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. What I've seen of him, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that impressed. I don't think he's that good, honestly, but you can only fight what's put in front of you, you get me? And it's a somewhat of a stay busy fight for Hamzah Sheeraz, in my opinion. It's his first title defense of the world title that he just won over Alan Bejic in 3 rounds. But in my opinion, there's levels to this. And Simon Verhoeven, I'm just gonna say Simon because I can't really pronounce his surname, but what I've seen of him, I think he's there to be hit. I don't think he's gonna pose too much problems for Hamzah Sheeraz. Hamzah Sheeraz won't have to go out there looking for him. He's gonna be right in front of him. He likes to trade a lot, Simon, and that's gonna be his downfall, in my opinion, because someone that's gonna stand in front of Hamzah Sheeraz ain't gonna give him a lot of problems unless he knows how to outthink him, And in my opinion, Simon, he's not gonna be able to do that because there's a massive gap in levels here, in my opinion. It's not Hamzah Sheeraz's fault because he was trying to fight the other contenders and world champions in the WBO middleweight division. Someone like Diego Pacheco, he turned down the fight, didn't he? You know what I mean? So obviously it's not his fault. He's trying to fight the best that's put in front of him, but at the end of the day, if the top contenders are not willing to fight you, you can't just stay out of the ring, because it creates ring rust. And I'm glad that he's staying fresh and active because a young fighter like him obviously needs to get as many fights as possible before it comes to someone like a big name as well. It's better to keep active because it can obviously keep you disciplined and motivated for when the big money fights arrive, you get me? So yeah, man, it's not Hamzah Sheeraz's fault, and I've seen a lot of people online criticizing the matchup and the fight itself, but you can only put what's in front of you. You can only deal with what's been put in front of you, and as long as he comes through in this fight, cool, calm and collective, like the last fight, there's not really going to be a lot of issue, is there? And one thing I will say is that Simon Verhoeven is a southpaw, and that in itself can be tricky, but at the end of the day, he's not a southpaw that utilizes his jab and utilizes a lot of his sort of attributes, in my opinion, because what I've seen of him, he's there to be hit, man. There's not really much technicality with Simon. In my opinion, he's fought most of his career in Germany, and when he has fought outside of Germany in the UK, he did lose. I believe he lost a 6th rounder to a guy that's fighting on the undercard of the AJ fight, which is another super middleweight in Jacob Bank. His opponent, he lost to his opponent, in the UK. First time outside of Germany, so that says a lot, in my opinion. I think there's a levels thing here, and it should be a golf in class, in my opinion. You know, the question here will be the most interesting question, and the question I want to know is, can he get him out of there as quick as he did Alan Bejic? You know, and I personally, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think he gets him out of there even if not even earlier. You get me? I think Hamzah's too good for this guy, but he's got to go out there and show that from the first bell. And yeah, man, I wouldn't be surprised if this performance from Hamzah Sheeraz steals the show from AJ. You know, Anthony Joshua is coming back into the ring as the main event, so obviously he's fighting someone that's like a tune-up for him. But you know, if AJ probably knocks him out in 1 or 2 rounds, Hamzah will knock this guy out also in 1 or 2 rounds. So it just depends how he goes about it. You know, in my opinion, I think he stops him within 3 rounds or less. You know, but to be on the safe side, sometimes, you know, what happens is you predict a round and it can just go over the round, you know. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think he's going to be able to get to Simon within the first 6 rounds. So I'd go for like my final prediction, because I think Hamzah's too good for this guy, man. And you know, if he's going to sit there and trade with Hamzah, it's going to be his downfall, and that's what I can see happening, in my opinion, because there's not much technicality to Simon, like I said, and he hasn't fought no one on the level of Hamzah Sheeraz. You know, when I look at his resume, you know, and when he did step up, he couldn't even do nothing. You know what I mean? He couldn't do nothing about the guy. It just shows me what sort of opponent he is. But yeah, I expect Hamzah Sheeraz to get rid of this guy, and he should do, in my opinion, you know, from what I've seen. But yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna say. And interesting thing is, you know, will he get him out there early? And that's just the question, and I think he will, man, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go for my final prediction: Hamzah Sheeraz to win by knockout in the first 4 to 6 rounds, 4 rounds, 3-4 rounds max. You know, if you want to be a bit generous, give him 1 to 6. You know, rounds 1 to 6, just in case. You know, just so that you're covered, you know. So rounds 1 to 6 ideally, but the odds ain't that great, man. The bookies are expecting this to go less than 6 rounds, but if you can do it in the first 3 rounds, that'll be a big bonus for everyone, you know. And if you can do that, that'll be great. But it's boxing. Sometimes the guy needs to be knocked out properly. Do you understand? It takes a bit of knocking out sometimes, some of these guys. But I think the way Hamzah's hitting, it's not going to last very long. It's not going to be a long time till he gets knocked out. And yeah, that's the final prediction. I got Hamzah Sheeraz by knockout, early rounds. You know, rounds 1 to 3, 1 to 6, 1 to 3, 1 to 6. But hopefully he can do the job in 3 rounds, you know, because this guy ain't on the level of Hamzah Sheeraz. Do you understand? So that's what I'm gonna say, man. Final prediction: rounds 1 to 6. But if you can do it in rounds 1 to 3, it's an even bonus for everyone, you know, because, you know, this is gonna be a good fight that can steal the show from a big stage. So the eyes are gonna be on Hamzah when this fight happens on the undercard, because they're gonna be tuning in to watch AJ come back. So if you can make a statement, it'll be good for all of us, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm also gonna go with, if there's any like other prop bets that come out on this fight, also could stick on Hamzah to land the most power punches, to land the most jabs. I think that will be an even bit of a bonus to add on, but I don't know if they will offer that, because when it comes to fights like this, they don't really offer much, you know, because the bookies, they know what they're doing sometimes, you know. So yeah, I give him that. And yeah, final prediction: Hamzah Sheeraz to win by knockout within the first 3 to 6 rounds. But I'll give him like one or two rounds. That'll be more of a statement in my opinion. You can personally do that, but yeah, I go for rounds 1 to 6. Cover it up, guys. Let me know your thoughts. As always, make sure you like, comment and subscribe. Share the video, all that good stuff, as it goes a long way to helping out the channel, yeah? So I appreciate that, man. I'll see you on the next one, yeah? Zane's Every Boxing Dosage. I'm out, man.